All right, welcome to another episode of Chalk Talk. Another very special show today. Got Coach Kelly Church on today. Coach Church, you've been around a while, and I had the privilege of getting to play against you, and we've had some really, really good games. And my career actually ended in like a double overtime 1-point loss against you, and I've always had so much respect for you, and you're one coach that I could always turn to speak with and talk about, college basketball and things like that. Even though I played for Jefferson, he was always willing to help me and any other person looking to better themselves and get to the next level. So I wanted to thank you for that before we got started, and welcome to the show.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it a lot. I think, over time, first thing you said, well, I've been around for a while. That just means I'm old. So I don't know if that's a big compliment or not, but I really have, I am proud of the fact that, it's kind of awkward when you're in the I don't want to say the shadow or your next door neighbor. I mean, Coach Rogers has been around forever. And so he actually, tenure wise, I've been the coach at Hedgesville longer than he's continuously been the coach because there was a period where Vic was the coach at Martinsburg. But I think in today's day and age, anytime you're able to stay somewhere as long as I have, it says a lot. And so I'm really, really proud of that. And Coach Russ has been with me the whole time. But one of the things that I've really tried to do since I've been here is, I want to win basketball games. I want, the best for Hedgesville High School. But, I think we're supposed to be in this for children, and children become young men. And when children become young men, you're supposed to, as an educator, you're supposed to help them chase their dreams. And so, I'm not going to, I never would, not for my own players or anyone else. I can't stick my neck out or recommend or try to help people that don't act right, don't carry themselves the right way, and don't do the right things. But if you are that person, whether you're on the other team or you're on my team, I think it's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be in the people business. And, so ever since I've been here, there's been lots of guys like yourself who I've gone out of my way to try to help them chase their dream.
Yeah, for sure. I think the word is impact, right? So, as we coach and, we try to impact, and, whether that's on the court and off the court, and you've definitely done that. So my hat's off to you. I was just speaking to Tech, and he said, you may not remember this, but he said he met you before you came to Hedgesville. He said that you were at a team camp at West Virginia, and you're coaching high school in Richmond. And he was one of the camp counselors there, and he had to take on a team to coach, because he said at that point in time you couldn't coach your team in West Virginia out of season, so he had to coach one of the West Virginia teams. So that's where he met you when he was young. So that's crazy that you guys went back that far, even before coaching against each other now in West Virginia.
Yeah, it really is. There's so when I was a younger guy, I used to, and I coached in college, but even before that, when I was in high school, I knew I wanted to coach in college. And so I went to Longwood, which is Division I now, it was Division II then. And, went to walk on and didn't make it in the beginning. And I said, I'll be the manager, and they didn't need a manager. I said, I'll keep the shot call, I'll do whatever. I just want to be part of this and learn. And then eventually I got to, be part of it, and then eventually got to be on the team. And I wasn't this great college basketball player, but I certainly think I practiced as hard as anybody. And it's gave me great insight into making sure that, if our kids don't appreciate our managers, if our kids don't appreciate the kids who practice on the team who don't get to play very much, it's a big deal to me. And so they're going to appreciate those people, because although we all have different roles, and at some point we want our roles to change, if you don't embrace the role you have and you don't treat those people with respect, then we're missing it. And so I used to go camp to camp to camp, and I would work 9 or 10 basketball camps every summer, which is why I've been able to develop and continue to have the relationships, that I have with so many college coaches, not just in our area and stuff, but around the country. And, if I said Kelly Church is good enough friends to call, Cal Irvine and talk to the head coach at Cal Irvine, and it's Russell Turner, and Russell Turner used to play at Hampton-Sydney, and we played against each other and worked camps together. People don't understand this. The number of Division I, and I know, Division II basketball as well, but the number of Division I basketball coaches that there are in the entire country is less of a population than the number of kids that go to Hedgesville High School.
Mhm.
And so when you put it in perspective like that, man, if I don't know somebody on somebody's staff, I know somebody who knows somebody really really well because of growing up and the experiences I had as a young person chasing the dream. And then I can give you my life story, but all of a sudden when it was me, Adam, and Alex, and I had the twin, it was the twins and me.
Mhm.
You have to make life choices, and so I certainly have no regrets. Hedgesville High School has been great to me. This community's been great to me, and some people love me, some people love to hate me. It's just the way it goes. One of the things that, like, if someone knows me really really well and they know me as a person, and that person thinks bad of me, then that would bother me. But the fact that certain people don't like me, who know nothing about me and who I am as a father, as a husband, as a basketball coach and a teacher, that's just people having opinions because they don't like our school, and that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to note that you run your high school program like a college program, and it's crazy that you say about embracing everybody and respecting everybody because at our program we make sure that our guys are speaking to the cafeteria lady or the janitor or the security guard and making sure that we're showing the person at the front desk in the Clemente Center respect and speaking to them, and that's the values that you're instilling in your players. But you guys also run a college type of program in the way you practice, how you treat your guys. You've got multiple sets of practice gear and things like that. Can you kind of walk us through with all the perks that it comes along with playing for the Ville?
Yeah, well, like, one of the things we talk about is like, basketball players sometimes, they act like they're special. So, if you're at a school that has 2,000 kids, we'll just pick that number because I'm not great at math. Well, that means 1,000 of them are boys. And if you have 1,000 boys in the school and only 15 of them get to be on the varsity basketball team, I think 15 out of 1,000 is pretty special.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to be special, and QJ used to say it all the time, I kind of stole this one from him, but if you want to be elite, then you need to act elite. We do different things to take care of our kids. Like, we do their laundry for them. They have laundry loops, just like your college players have laundry loops.
Yeah.
We have two sets of practice uniforms and an emergency set that we use in case those two didn't get washed, that we don't use as much. It's older, but we have a third set for that. We have multiple sets of uniforms. We have home, away, we have throwback, home and away. We've got, like, tonight we'll be wearing our baby blue ones, which is a color that our school used to be. And we try to take some neat trips. This year we went to Florida. We went to Miami. Again, part of the basketball was a little rough. The team we played was an elite team in Miami, and it was, but still very eye opening. If you don't go through challenging experiences, then sometimes you don't learn enough about yourself. So, we have high expectations for academics. Like, we've won. And when I say we, I keep saying we. Like, my assistants are great, and Chris has been with me the whole time. That's 25 years together. That's a long time, and but in that time, we've never had a player not graduate with his class. So if you think about that, that's 25 years of high school kids that once they make the varsity basketball team, they graduate with their class. So out of all the statistical and different numbers I could throw out, I was joking around with Miss Van Dyke. I coach in a building that's named after Gilbert Miller, who was a great, great man, who was super nice to me when I got to the community. And I think he won somewhere short of 200 games. Not that it's just about winning, but that's part of it. And we've won over 400. When we didn't make a big deal about it. We didn't, no hoopla. It's just another day, and you move on to the next one. But the biggest thing we try to do, like, you said, impact lives. One of our slogans, we like, make a difference every day, make a difference. And we talk to our kids not only about, like, they should treat the principal with respect, but they should treat the custodians with the same respect. We actually will put the custodians' pictures. We'll take a picture of them in the beginning of the year, and we'll put the custodian's name at the bottom of the picture, and expect the kids to learn all the custodians' names. And then about halfway through the year, we'll start pulling out pictures of the custodians with the names on there. And if they don't know the custodian's name, then they can get a little bit of reinforcement on the importance of learning those names. And I talk about all the time, like, how in the world are you not going to know the name of the man who cleans your urinal? How are you not going to have to show him respect and kindness when that's the job that he has? And again, I'm not making fun of that job at all. It's an admirable job. And if they're willing to do it and work for, that's their job. And, I think you need to show them the respect that they deserve.
Absolutely, 100%. And Tech was actually telling me that when you were coaching at Richmond, that your style of play was different than what we've come accustomed to in the Eastern Panhandle. So that's a testament to you as a coach and the adjustments that you're making. You're coaching the personnel. You've built a system. You've taken a lot of things along the way that you've learned, through the years and kind of implemented it into your system. But can you kind of tell us, the evolution of who you were as a coach in Richmond to, throughout the 25 years up until now at Hedgesville?
Yeah, well, like when I first started, the plan was to coach in college, and like how small the basketball world is. Everyone knows who Jim Valvano is. His brother Bob Valvano was on ESPN all the time. So I was going to go with Bob Valvano to Bellarmine, and I didn't go. I got married and had children, and my wife really wanted to. She wanted to. She didn't want to chase it. She didn't want to chase that dream. She didn't want that life, and so made a decision. And then along the way. We went through some bumps. It happens. And then I was a single dad, and I actually had the twins. And so it's me and two 2-year-olds at the same time. So I remind our kids basketball wise, and it's jumping away from your question a little bit, but basketball is not tough. Tough. All of a sudden, I have a really nice car. My wife had a really nice car. We have a beautiful home in Richmond, and things seem like we're on top of the world. And then all of a sudden, I'm a single dad with 2 kids, and I'm struggling to make it financially. That's tough. Basketball games, man. You should enjoy the heck out of them and try to win as best you can. And no matter what, when the game's over, treat people with respect and handle your win or handle your loss like a man. In terms of the basketball part of it, one of the things that happens when you first become a head coach is you have no idea how much stuff you don't know. If I didn't have the assistants that I have, and I didn't have Chris with me, I mean, there's no way we could do it the way we do it. Our scouting reports are no different than your scouting report. I'm not saying everybody should do it this way, but our scouting reports are no different than yours in college. We have every player personnel. We have tendencies. We have all those things. We have every set that Jefferson runs, every inbound play that they run, every zone offense they run. We have all that stuff done, and we require our kids to learn it. And we have cut-ups of film. We do all those things. And sometimes, honestly, it does hurt us because some of the kids that are playing basketball at Hedgesville High School are just kids that want to be on the high school basketball team. And so but I am who I am. I can't lower those expectations. And so it's how I grew up. It's what I've learned. It's really flattering when I'm friends with the coaches at JMU. One of the assistant coaches is Tom Izzo's nephew, and we've become really good friends. And the fact that he doesn't call me and ask me to solve their problems. But when the assistant coach at JMU, who's Tom Izzo's nephew, calls you and is willing to talk to you for 30 minutes and asking you different things about defense, it's pretty flattering. And so along the way, like when I was in Richmond, and one of the schools I coached at was an inner city school. We had lots of athletes, and so we didn't necessarily play the way we played at Hedgesville High School. And so being able to adapt to different styles. When I first got here, we had Kenny and Brady and Shane and Derek Brown. We were athletic, especially compared to the other people we played around here. Pressed 2 or 3 different ways. We played fast. It's so along the way, what I've realized is the biggest thing I don't want to happen. Like tonight, we played Jefferson. Ton of respect for Tech. He's a great guy. I get along with all those guys really well. You learn a lot about somebody. My wife openly talks about Tech and how unbelievably kind and nice he is to her. I doubt he knows my wife's first name, but every time he sees her, he says hello. He couldn't be any more polite and respectful. And that says a lot about him as a person. They've gone through a spell where they're pretty talented. And so you have to adapt to being able to play different styles, I think, to be successful. But one of the biggest things we try to pride ourselves on is HHS isn't going to beat HHS. Hedgesville High School doesn't want to beat Hedgesville High School. We have to be, if you play smart, if you take care of the ball, if you limit live ball turnovers, then, I found that if you just do those things, if you limit live ball turnovers and you take care of the ball, and you don't beat yourself, then you've got a chance. And so that, and you got to motivate kids to try hard. And it doesn't matter what school you're at. Like sometimes that's difficult. It's difficult to get kids to try hard because, the tactics you used to be able to use, it's a different world. And like, it doesn't matter if it's high school or college.
Yeah.
Coach Huggins still uses the treadmill.
Yeah, he does.
He still does.
Yeah.
I asked my friend, can we get a treadmill for the gym? He started laughing. He goes, "You're kidding." Yeah, I was kidding. But taking pride in it, having your kids and so we've really tried to focus this year on defense. We have some kids who score the ball okay, but we really have to. It can't be just we're trading buckets.
Yeah.
The things that happens is AAU basketball. It's good and bad, but AAU basketball does lend itself in general. I'm not saying anything about anyone around here. No shots at anybody. In general, AAU basketball lends itself to we're trading buckets, and the reason it does that is because you're playing 5 games in a weekend, and if the first game doesn't go well, you're still playing in the second game. You're still in the third. So, getting kids to buy in, and we're going to try really, really hard, no matter what. Buy into your role and do all those little things. That's what I think really, really matters.
Yeah,
and it matters long term too, because I tell our kids okay, well, you want to be if you're at a school and you want to be the head of the history department, but right now your job is you're the custodian, and you do a bad job as the custodian. Yeah. Why in the world would the principal ever think about making you the head of the history department? Yeah, and just trying to teach them those life. I think is what really, really matters.
Yeah, for sure. I think you touched on a few things. Film study, for one, is something that we really get on our guys about is, watching film. That way, when we come to break down film, it's not something that you're hearing for the first time. And another word you use is tendencies. I think that's a really important word when preparing for teams. And the fact that you're getting your guys to, look at tendencies and understand tendencies, whether it's personnel or whether it's, team concepts. I think that's awesome as well.
Right. Kids watch film.
Yeah.
They just
watching themselves.
Yeah, they watch highlights. They're like, yeah, I watched. No, you didn't watch. You watched highlights. You watched your seven 3-pointers in the last 2 games that went in. Yeah. You didn't watch them. You missed. Right. You're supposed to take charge and weren't in the right place. Right. They don't stuff. And some will, but most won't. Yeah. It's just different world, man.
Yeah, for sure. So I think defense is just one of those things I hang my hat on, and I know you guys play, great D. I don't know if it's a matchup zone, but I still haven't quite figured it out. But I have implemented, a matchup zone into my defensive philosophy, and the way you guys talk and communicate and move around and stay compact and moving like the balls, if they're on a string and moving with the ball and things like that. So. That's important. I think that's a testament to the success of you, putting those principles into them and sticking to it. But let's talk a little bit about what people may not know about you and how you feel about the implementation of the shot clock in West Virginia. So people may be shocked about, what you feel about this. And it's one of the critiques, I should say, about what people have about Coach Church and the way that he coaches and plays the game. So I'll let you take the floor.
Well, there's a number of things. I wrote an article for West Virginia Prep Basketball, and I took both sides of the argument. I really do. I still take both sides of the argument. One of the things that I will tell you is this: one of the biggest arguments is, well, we need to prepare kids for the next level. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I would tell you is this: anybody who would change anything that they've done that's been very, very successful, which I think high school basketball in general is a really good game and it's been successful. Why in the world you would change that for 2% of your population, I don't get. Because that's percent of the population that's ever going to play past high school. That's the first part of it. Yeah. The second part of it is, you need to teach kids to play faster because if they're going to play at the next level, they got to work on their skills. And my argument for that is really, really good. So at least I think it is. QJ and CJ both played here. Mm-hmm. QJ and CJ played disciplined basketball and did what I told them to do. Yeah. I think QJ's third at BMI all-time scoring list. He scores about 30 a game now in China and makes, I don't know if he makes $1 million yet, but he's getting there. TJ plays professional basketball. He's, I think, number 6 or 7 on the list at Marshall in terms of all-time scoring. Kids that are good enough to score, they don't need their high school coach to let them shoot fast or learn how to shoot bad shots so they score more points. Part of it is like style of play. How many kids do you have that can play that way? So we have a couple kids on our team right now that I think can play fast, and if given the opportunity, they'd love to just run up and down the court. The only problem is I don't have 7 guys that can do that. I don't have 8 guys that do that. So we have to decide what's best for our team, not just what's best for Billy. What's best for Billy matters when we're off the court. What's best for the team matters when we're on the court. Always team on the court, individual off the court. In terms of the shot clock, the next thing that comes is like we struggle now. And again, it's not a shot. I think I actually popped by I had to ask the referees questions, so I did so on Sunday, and I know they were meeting. And it's great that they're meeting and trying to. There's certain ones of them are trying to be as good as they can be. We don't have very many officials. If you ask the officials themselves, they would say that they're limited in the number of people that they think are good enough to do regional or state games. And now we're going to add. They have to manage a shot clock, and now not only do they have to manage a shot clock, they have to manage a shot clock and a shot clock operator who doesn't know the rules.
Right.
You're also going to have to change the rules. With like in high school basketball right now in the states that use the shot clock, when you like in college when you're dribbling the ball, there's no more count. In high school, there still is in lots of places. Lots of people don't understand that or know that. Not to mention the cost. Like we're going to have to use we play on Thursday, we'll play a triple header. Like we don't play, but our girls do, so our freshmen will play. We're having to use a mobile clock because our scoreboard in our back gym that's from, 1970 doesn't work anymore. So we're having to use a mobile clock. Now you're going to get shot clocks in every gym, and you're not going to use them with you might not use them in middle school, but if you're using them in high school, you're using them with freshmen, JV, and varsity. So there's the cost of it. There's the people that have to run it. If you do it for boys, you're going to do it for girls. So now you have, and again, I'm not taking a shot at any girls teams anywhere, ours, anyone else's, but you have limited people that come to the games already. Like now you got to find somebody else to work the clocks to do these things. And so could you find a way to make it all work? Like you could, but I don't know. When I say I don't know why, I really don't know what your main. If you look at the number, I'm jumping around a little bit. If you look at the number of the scoring average of the states that don't have the shot clock compared to the states that do have the shot clock, the states that didn't have a shot clock were within like 2 points of the ones that do. Wow. So what would be the reason to add the shot? Like come to our Jefferson game tonight. You'll be there, right? Somebody will be there. Like, see how many shot clock violations Jefferson would have. Oh, but what if we hold the ball? What if we hold the ball? Like they're certainly, we're not going to hold it for long. Like time our shot. But every once in a while, there's a team that for certain possessions hold the ball for a long time. We did it in one game for a long, long time. And it was in the state tournament. It was in the semifinal game. It was against Parkersburg. Lots of people still talk about it to know the history. QJ, CJ, and Chris Shields were all in foul trouble. So I have 3 Division I basketball teams at Hedgesville High School, all 3 in foul trouble. Why in the world would I try to play against another team that had a Division I kid and 2 Division II kids on it that weren't in foul trouble? So we held the ball. We held the ball for the entire quarter. We passed the ball 69 times and shot a layup. I'm not going to pop. In the second half of that same game, there was only 4 possessions in the second quarter. In the second half of that game, we scored 48 points, which was the most points anyone scored in a half that year at the state tournament. And so when you add up all the different things, I just know this. This is one of the things that I said. I'm on the coaches committee for our state, and by the way, heartfelt prayers for Greg Reed and his family. I mean, obviously he's in heaven now, and he was in charge of basketball for our state. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention him and his family. I'm sure it's tough on them, but he's a great guy and great for basketball. But at the coaches meeting, the vote, the way it went, and I don't know the exact number of coaches that were there, but if it was 30, it was 1 for the shot clock, 1 who was fine either way, and 28 against. So how many? No one in our state was for it, and the reason is because of all the different things I said. We all did agree. And one of the things that I said was, if it is going to happen across the country, or with at least within our region, we don't want to be last.
Yeah.
So we start to get word that it's going to happen. I just don't know that it is. I don't know that it's going to happen in Virginia. I just don't know that we're going to do it for the same reasons I just said.
Mhm.
Now, the last part of this is the part that will shock people. I'm not against the shot clock. It helps me in lots of ways. So, well, how does it help me? Like, so if Jefferson's beating us and they hold the ball, or if Martinsburg's win and they hold the ball, that's tough on us.
Absolutely.
That's tough because if the other team is more athletic and has better ball handlers, and now I have to go press and trap them, that sometimes can make it where it's hard to come back if you're behind.
Absolutely.
And so no matter what, there's a shot clock. Like if you look at UVA is definitely not the most athletic team in the country in men's basketball.
Yeah.
They do a great job of managing the shot clock. They manage it on the offensive end, and they manage it on the defensive end by making you take tough shots. And you shoot quick shots that aren't good ones. Now you're going to play defense for a while. And so I think for me, it would, again, I'd have to coach a little differently, but it would give me a chance to, find a different way. And if this bothers people, find a different way to manipulate the game.
Yeah,
and my job coach at Hedgesville High School is to try to figure out a way to help my kids win that basketball game within the rules.
Yeah.
So, in the 25 years that I've been here, that's what we try to do.
Yeah, for sure. I think you make a good point. Now, the shot clock allows for teams that are losing to be able to still come back. And because the team winning still has to execute in the half court, because you only get, whether it's 30 seconds or 40 seconds, whatever they would give you guys to hold the ball and execute. So that means more possessions in the game. So teams that are winning have to learn how to win and hold on to leads, and teams that are not winning will have to learn to come from behind, and the game is way more possession. So I do think the shot clock does help in that regard from a strategic standpoint, where both sides have to execute, whether it's half court defense or half court offense, or even if it's pressing, because if you're pressing, it might not always be to get a turnover, but sometimes it speeds the other team up. They take a shot. Or
if we have a shot clock, we'd start pressing.
Absolutely, because by the time they get that thing across half court, now you might only have 20 seconds to execute in the half court. So, I don't dive too deep into the game all the time, but, you're clearly a basketball mind and you're an analytic guy, and you throwing out numbers all the time. And you know how many passes you made in that one possession down in Charleston. And I'm sure that number is exactly how many passes it was. But I do enjoy speaking with you about the game, and we've talked at midnight for over an hour when I was home from a basketball camp, and I really enjoy speaking the game with you. I guess my last question for you is, what are the keys tonight to beating Jefferson? And what do you have to do offensively and defensively to make sure that you come out with the win tonight?
Well, offensively, like anytime you shoot better, I mean, obviously it gives you a chance, but I mean, that goes without saying. Like, so for us, it really does. Like, live ball turnovers are huge. We can't, like, we get a 10-second count in the back court, I'll live with it. We get a 5-second count closely guarded, I'll live with it. It lets us set our defense. Live ball turnovers lets Jefferson get out and play in transition. The more they play in transition, the better off they are. In half court, like, Tech does a really good job. They run a lot of different quick hitter sets. So whether or not our kids have been able to learn them in a day, I don't know. We'll find out. But you have to try to make kids do certain things that they don't like to do as well, or maybe they don't do as well, or they don't like to do as much. That becomes key for us in the half court on the, and you have to rebound the ball. But like, it becomes hard because like Jefferson sometimes shoots from so far away. They shoot 5-pointers sometimes, man. And so if Gladney's hot and he's 4 feet behind the line and he's hot, we will do the best we can to close out and guard him. But the reality of it is, he's on fire. And the last few times we played him, he's hurt us. Obviously they have everybody thinks whoever dribbles the ball is a point guard. Jefferson has a point guard. He's really, really good. He's a high level Division I. He's only a sophomore. I know redshirt year, whatever you want to call it anymore. I don't know what's politically correct, but he took a year off so that he'd be in the class he's in now. And he's not a young. Oh, he's only a sophomore. I know he's not. I mean, he's older than half our juniors. I don't take that away from him at all. He's a Division I point guard. One of the things that, again, I know you know this, but when coaches at other schools, it's one of the things that does make me feel proud about what we've been able to do here. When people are asking questions about Jenkins, I know that there's those coaches will call Tech. I'm sure they will. I also know they call me. And so I will get lots of calls about kids and college coaches. Like, I haven't told this story very much. Like Dante Grantham went to Clemson. I by no means was the reason he went to Clemson. That's not the case. So I'm going to make sure I say that in the opening. Mike Winnicki was in my first wedding. He was the associate head coach at Clemson. We had many, many conversations about Dante Grantham. Yeah. And so it's what I go back to the little world that we live in. Like, so it really does matter how you treat people everywhere, whether it's a kid on my team and how they treat Tech, or it's a kid on their team and how they treat me. You never know who can have an impact on your life. But with that being said, like on the offensive end, we have to take care of the ball. We can't be afraid to play downhill. We can't settle long shots mean long rebounds. Long rebounds sometimes are the exact same as a live ball turnover. Absolutely. So, I'm not saying we shouldn't shoot threes. We should shoot wide open threes. Yeah. And we got to make sure that our transition defense is on point, and, that we do a good job with that. So to recap it, you gotta limit your live ball turnovers, got to handle the ball against their press. We got to make sure we get back in transition. We guard their sets as best we can. We can't let, but obviously, like both Shiveleys are really, really good. I mean, they're really, really good. Like Will is, Will could play center or play point guard. Like, I mean, he's just a tough all around player. A ton of respect for him and his family. His brother's doing a great job as well. So, and they have other players like, they've got some other players. If they were on other teams, everybody know who they were a lot better than they do. So I just think it's really, really important for us to show up and then to understand this. Our season isn't going to end tonight one way or another. Yeah. Like I want to show up and compete and play loose and play with energy and understand that this is a long way. Like, I said it the other night, we were on the phone, said, or when I did the TV for, the other station, and we played Martinsburg, we won. Like, got to be really excited. What do you look at for your team going forward? I said, man, I hope we show up and practice hard tomorrow. Yeah. Like, I worry about being better tomorrow than I was today. Yeah. And no matter what, you can't let your highs be too high or your lows be too low. Because if you do that in this sport, man, you play too many games, and you're just going to go through. If you have a ton of peaks and valleys, it's just too draining, like emotionally, physically, everything else. You got to even keel. It's a long journey. The year we won a state championship, we played Berkeley Springs, who was pretty good. They were pretty good. We were really, really good, we thought. We beat Berkeley Springs at the buzzer. You're going to have some peaks and valleys, man. You got to stick with it. And so no matter what, our big message tonight will be limit your live ball turnovers. Make sure you play great transition defense. And on the offensive end, don't be afraid to play downhill. Got to play downhill.
Awesome. So I will not let you off this call before I ask you what everybody wants to know. What do you say to the officials on a night in, night out basis? Because everybody thinks that, Coach Church has all these antics and he's trying to manipulate the game, as you said. Is that just part of your way of manipulating the game, is getting in the official's ear? And what do you say to
them? People would be amazed how, like, these things do not happen. Coach Church doesn't ever use profanity towards the officials. I say, sir, please, and thank you. I'll ask questions. Sometimes I'll ask them, what did you see? Sometimes I'll ask them, like I'll ask them about a rule. I think I'm in my office now. It's also like everybody in the world has bathrooms that they use. Every time I go into the bathroom, I read the rule book. I try to make sure I know the rules really, really well. And then I try to read the rules. I don't try to manipulate in terms of manipulating the officials. I tell our kids this. The thing that you said about your players in Florida, you tell them to say please and thank you to the lunch ladies, right? Because then maybe they get more food. Now it's polite and respectful.
Absolutely.
how you treat human beings matters. I don't treat the officials rudely. Officials, sometimes they're nervous when they have my game because they know I have high expectations for them, just like I do my players, just like I do for my staff, just like I do for myself. And so if you have my game and you're an official and you're nervous because you're not sure if you know the rules, like my answer would be study, learn the rules better. I'm going to use, I don't try to manipulate people. I try to treat people with respect. Do I ever yell loudly during games? Now, if you don't, you can't hear things. So, but lots of times when I'm talking to officials and I'm standing there and I'm right behind them, people would be amazed that sometimes I would say, like if it's Ron Watkins, Ron, it would really, really help me out if you could tell my kids to box out. It really could. So what happens is every time there's an interaction, if it was just negative, then it wouldn't work. And it's times it's positive. I'm not going to not be intense. I'm not going to not try hard. Again, I used to, like, I was a skinny Caucasian kid in Richmond, Virginia that has one eye. And without getting emotional or sad about it, did not have a very good childhood. And so I learned somewhere along the way in my life. I don't think I'm the toughest guy in the world. So if I had to fight somebody really big, would they beat me up? Well, I'm sure they would. But I learned the fear of being hit is way worse than being hit. Fear of being hit can cripple you. Being hit, it might hurt for a minute, but it's going away. So the fear of being hit is way worse than being hit. No matter what, I've lived my life as the underdog. You can't see well enough to play. It's going to be too hard for you. You can't do it. You can't do it. Like, well, it's amazing like what you can achieve in life if you let everybody tell you what you can't do and you listen to them, or you let everybody tell you what you can't do and you prove them wrong. At Hedgesville High School, I've done the best I can to prove everybody wrong. I've lasted 25 years in the same job in the same building. We've played for a state championship and lost. We've won a state championship. I'm not naive about how hard it is to get out of our section and our region. But when we've been fortunate enough to get to Charleston, we usually stay around for a little bit. We've had success. But the reason we've had that is, we might not have the fastest players, the best players. We might have one or two that are really good and some other ones that are just okay. Try to get everybody to buy in. And no matter what, don't let anyone tell you what you can't do. And you try your damnedest and your hardest at everything you do. And that's how I've tried to live my life.
Yeah, I love it, Coach. Well, I appreciate you taking this time, short notice. And I was not going to let this opportunity go by. When you text me, say, can you do it now? Absolutely, 100%. I'll push everything off to make this happen. So I wish you the best of luck. Home Team Sports TV will be covering the game tonight. So I will be fortunate enough to be able to watch here in Florida right after practice. We'll be done practice at 6, and I'll be with my popcorn ready, tuned in to Home Team Sports to watch you guys battle it out tonight against Jefferson. I wish you the best tonight. I wish you the best along the way on your journey to Charleston and win a state championship, and your journey to continue making these people better.
Well, I appreciate it. And one last thing, when you talk to Tech, I know that he said lots of nice things about me because that's who he is. He's not being fake. And when I talked to you about Tech, I said lots of nice things about him. Like, quite honestly, that's the thing that sometimes we get away from. And I'm not just maybe everywhere, but certainly around here. Like, I want to win and he wants to win. No matter what, he's doing the best he can to make a difference in those kids' lives, as I'm doing here. And that's what it's supposed to be about. So I really appreciate you guys. I wish everybody around the area the best of luck. And we're not naive about, I know one way or another I can go to Charleston. I'd rather take my team with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're going to be there regardless how we go.
Yeah, that's right. I tell the kids all the time, like, we've won a state championship. I know how hard it is. We know the different things it takes. I've also been there without my team. Like, I'm going either way. I really, really take you guys with me. It's a different experience. So,
absolutely. Perfect, Coach. Well, I'll let you go.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate everything.
Yeah, thank you. Talk to you later.
Right.
Bye.